Hey, this is Meredith's husband. I've got some SEO advice for you, but I'm going to keep it really simple so that you can understand it, so it makes sense, and most importantly, so you can actually use it.
How are you doing?
I'm fantastic.
Fabulous. So proud of you.
I'm so good. Oh, it hurts. Oh, it's painful how good I'm doing.
Yes.
Content. We're talking about content today.
Content.
Building
we are
healthy,
content to have content.
healthy habits around content.
Healthy habits. We're doing a whole bunch of healthy habits.
Yeah, this is Healthy Habits part
74.
Part 4.
Sure, why not 4?
It's part 4.
It's healthy. It's a habit.
Yeah. Okay, so content. Content is uber important.
Uber.
And I will not lie, it's tricky. It's difficult.
Hard.
It's not easy to come up with ideas for content. That's what we're going to talk about today.
Oh, good. I feel like I feel like I'm currently pulling on my own sleeves to create content. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's difficult, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can't tell you what you should create, but what I'm going to share, I hope will help you in how you can go about it and how you can establish a process.
Fantastic.
Because what most of us do, myself included,
yes,
is what do you do? What do you do when you think about, okay, I need to write a blog? What do you do?
Panic. And procrastinate, and I clean everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do anything except for what I need to do.
And
if I'm being honest.
And I need to, you're probably waiting for inspiration to strike, right?
Yeah.
That's a pretty common phenomenon, I think.
Gummy's help.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
I know. It's not.
What do you think? I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
This is always dangerous when I do this.
Yes.
Kind of rolling the dice.
Speaking of danger, danger and health.
I can appreciate this.
Okay, me too.
What do you suppose David Bowie did? What was his process for being creating a new album? He's got a new album he's going to do. Does he wait for inspiration to strike?
No. Sometimes, but and sometimes, like for Heroes, the words for Heroes, they were all.
See what I mean about rolling the dice?
They were all locked in.
We'll get back to the episode in like 47
They were all locked in a room, and then they went out, and Tony Visconti saw this couple kissing, and then Bowie's like, yes! But often what he did for inspiration is he would kind of write just like a poem or a bunch of words, and he'd then cut them up and either put them in a hat or do something and mix them, juggle, and then he'd put them together in a different way to inspire. Okay.
Well, that's kind of surprisingly unimpressive for how David Bowie created his songs. But it's a process. Judge? It's a process, right?
I'm not going to judge how David Bowie created his songs.
It worked.
Yeah.
But it's a process, right? He didn't just sit. He didn't procrastinate and clean his bedroom until one day he had Heroes in his head.
No.
There was some sort of process. He's like, okay, I got to write a song. This is what I do. This is my process of how I write songs. I put words in a hat and then I pick them out and then I write a song.
At one point.
If that's the process, yes. At one point.
One of the writers for The Simpsons, his way of writing episodes, rather than waiting for inspiration, was sit down at the computer, no editing, no judgment, just write an episode. And it can be the worst episode ever, but then you've got an episode down. Leave it, go to bed, and then come back and fix it.
It's a whole lot easier to fix something than it is to create something, especially if you're trying to create something that's great from the start.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
It's true. And occasionally Maps was written, and Heroes was written in one thing.
Occasionally.
But
I would like to argue that like when that happens, that's a result of like having a process.
Yeah.
But we need a method, right? We need
a method to our madness.
Process.
Yes, we do.
Now, usually, I think for most of us, myself, and I think for you, that usually comes in the form of notes, taking notes, right?
Oh, gosh, yes.
So you're sleeping, or you're not sleeping, but you're laying in bed, or you're taking a shower, or you're walking down the street, and you have an idea, and you write it down in a note, and then what happens to that note?
Well,
God knows.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm looking at probably thousands of them right now in a big pile.
So for me, I'm going to tell you what I have done to overcome
Put it in Evernote? Like a grown-up?
Well, yes. But I didn't even know how to do that. Like, I've heard for years and years and years how great Evernote is. I never really knew how to use it. Like, okay, everybody's using Evernote. I try to use it. I'm like, it doesn't help me, whatever. I've tried it probably a dozen times. Recently, I read a book, and I have mentioned this book to you.
Me?
The book is Building a Second Brain, or How to Build a Second Brain. I'll link it below.
Around the place.
Yes. It was, for me, a game changer. It goes through a process of how to use a note-taking system like Evernote so that you can put it into practice and use it without it being extremely painful. So that you can keep notes and that you can know how to organize them, you know how to maintain them, you know how to come back to them. For me, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what else. For me, a book is kind of a big investment.
Yeah.
Not in terms of money.
No, time-wise, attention-wise, focus-wise.
Time-wise, like it takes hours. I listen to books.
Me too.
I learn better listening than I do reading, so I listen. But even that is that's several hours of listening. So it's a big commitment. What I did is I listened to this book first on something called Blinkist, which I also love.
You love your Blinkist.
Yeah. Blinkist, if you haven't heard of it, it's like Cliff's Notes for audiobooks. It's like they take books and they summarize them into 15 minutes. So first I listened to this book. I'll link to Blinkist below too, but it's called Blinkist. So you can just look for Blinkist.
Blinkist.
I listened to this book I read an article, and the article was about how to do, I don't know, X, Y, Z. And it mentioned this book and told a little bit about it. And I was like, wow, that sounds really great. I put it on my Blinkist. I listened on Blinkist. I was like, that still sounds really great. I'm going to buy the book and listen to the book. And I did, and it was awesome.
Huh. Do you know that when I was a little girl, I thought that it was President Blinken, A. Blinken?
Oh, Blinken.
Yeah.
President Blinken. That sounds like a character in a play in the future. Okay, so why do we need content for SEO?
To keep things fresh for Google and to show them that you're active and alive.
Yes. Yeah. All of that is accurate. But I will say, I know blogging is painful. It's not easy.
Yeah.
You're probably sitting there thinking, oh, I need to schedule time. I need to sit down. I need to blog. I need to do this. I need to do that.
Can someone do it for me, please?
Yeah. Don't have somebody do it for you.
I know.
Please
no
don't
AI.
do that. What you need to do.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to apologize for saying this because it's not going to be easy to hear.
Strap in, kids.
You need to develop a habit, a system, a method for taking your ideas and nourishing them a little bit and turning them into blogs.
Magic.
Now, whether the blog is like a written 18 paragraphs of text, or maybe it's a chart, or maybe it's a podcast, or maybe it's something else, whatever it is, that's going to be up to you. I can't tell you what that is going to be, but you're going to need some sort of creative method to get those ideas out of you and into your blog.
Okay. What do you recommend?
What I just told you. What we need is a system that is as painless as possible so that we can capture ideas when we're out in the world and we're doing our thing, whether that's taking photos actively or speaking with clients. When an idea strikes us and we think, oh, that could be good. My clients would be interested in that. We need a way to capture that idea, store it somewhere so that we can access that idea.
Retrieve it.
In a timely fashion when appropriate.
Right. No more sifting through ripped pieces of paper.
Yes.
In a pile.
Okay, so the book talks about how to do this. Like literally exactly what folders you should create, what you should put in those folders.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a folder for this episode.
Oh, wow.
I do this for these episodes. I do this for my own blog. I do it for client projects. I do it for your website. And it works really well.
Great.
You have, your first blog is, if you're not writing blogs.
Yeah.
And you need to blog.
Yeah. I know.
Your first blog, I hate to break it to you, but it's going to suck.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's totally
everybody's
fine.
first whatever.
Do you know what my first
does.
blog on Merida's husband was?
Hi, we don't know what we're doing.
It was Hello World. Period.
That's nice.
The end.
That's cute.
That's also the name of the first episode of this
That's
podcast.
cute, though.
But it's something. You got to get something.
Do you know what people should do?
What should people do?
If people are inspired by this episode, let us know and send us a link to your blog.
Yes. Just start a process. You got to have a process. If you come up with 10 blogs and they're crappy, you don't need to publish them.
Right.
Wait until you have something that you're happy with.
Yeah.
You got to start the process. It's painful. I know. It's scary. I know. But if you can come up with a process where you can create blogs, it will be a game changer.
Okay. So my question is, I feel like you have provided us with the tools placed in a circle. It is our job to figure out which tools we are going to pick up and use for our personal process to make blogging a part of our lives and a habit somehow to incorporate.
As painlessly as possible. I think my message is this. Don't approach blogging or creating content for social media or whatever it is as putting it in as this big to-do on your list that you need to set aside a chunk of 10 hours and go do. You need to find a way to implement that so that it doesn't take any extra time, so that you can do it as a byproduct of what you are normally doing.
How do you do that?
Little by little.
Yeah, step by step.
And he said, and the author of this book says multiple times throughout the book, that's like, no process is going to be perfect and complete. Like you're not going to develop a method that is going to be perfect and always work. It's like by definition, that method will not work because it is too structured. You need something that's malleable. You need something that's going to change with you over time.
Right. I like that.
It's a good book.
That's a good book. The name of it one more time?
Building a Second Brain.
There we go, folks.
I'll link it. But
make sure you write that down and put it in a place
oh my God.
You can easily refer and come back to. Bam! Basket.
All right. I hope that helps. By the way, if this episode makes sense to you as you listen to this, it's because I did a shit ton of editing to it.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. We really hope that you find this helpful and useful. And if you do, what you could do for us as a thanks would be to, drumroll please, yes, leave a review. Yes, everybody says it, I know, but it really does make a difference. Take 3 seconds, leave as many stars, say something really nice about what you like about the podcast and maybe why other people would like it. It would mean the world to us, especially my husband. That better? All right, I'm going to try one where I'm not going to be charming.